Assalamu alaikum. Good morning, dear honorable speaker, research enthusiast participants. Welcome to your most expected research idea series. I am Mohammad Emtiajul Islam, campus research co-ambassador of 𝒮𝓂𝓯ℯ researcher BD platform from Chittagong University of Engineering and Technology. It's my pleasure to host today's program. Before dive into the live session, I will introduce 𝒮𝓂𝓯ℯ researcher BD platform, its mission, vision, and activities. 𝒮𝓂𝓯ℯ researcher BD is an online-based non-profit open platform directed by some world-class scholars. We are truly working to promote research and guide young researchers in Bangladesh. Its vision is to leverage research in higher educational institutes for sustainable development all over the world. This novel effort has been initiated by Mr. Mohammad Sabir Hossain. He is working as an assistant professor at the Department of Computer Science and Engineering of Chittagong University of Engineering and Technology, CUET, Bangladesh. We know that selecting research ideas is the most important step in research methodology. However, finding a research idea or topic is a challenging job for the research enthusiast and new learners. To assist them in finding ideas easily, we are organizing this research idea series. Research scholars from home and abroad of different disciplines will deliver lectures related to his research expertise or domain knowledge. Basically, speakers will share trending research topics, skills, tools, and techniques required to start his or her current and past research projects, publications, guidelines for a specific field. We have a plan to cover all possible research areas in future. Now I am going to introduce today's session and speaker. It is the 10th lecture of Research Idea Series titled as Challenges in Water Resources Management and Related Research in Bangladesh. The key highlights of this lecture are recent works on water resource management, trending research topics in water resource management skills, tools and techniques required to start research, publication tips, research collaboration, finally, reported journals or conferences in water resource management. Today's honorable speaker is Professor Dr. Muhammad Reaz Akter Mullick. He is currently serving as a full-time professor in the Department of Civil Engineering, Chittagong University of Engineering and Technology, Chittagong. Water engineering and management he received his PhD from Asian Institute of Technology, Thailand in 2011 in water engineering and management using a Norwegian scholarship. He obtained his MSc from University of Ghent, Belgium in 2005 under Belgium Technical Cooperation Scholarship and completed BSc in Civil Engineering from CUET, Dhaka in 2000. In his 20 years of professional career, he is actively involved in research besides academic activities. He has 12 international journal publications and more than 20 conference papers. Currently, he is teaching 4 undergraduate courses as well as he also developed and is teaching 2 MSc courses at the Department of Civil Engineering, CUET. Besides academic and research activities, he is involved in different projects. He completed a number of research projects at CUET. In addition, he completed a HEQEP project, CP174 in 2013, and a Netherlands-funded capacity development project, NICHE BGD 081 in 2015. He also completed a joint research project with an Indonesian university funded by UNESCO IAC in 2011. Very recently, he completed a project funded by UNDP at Chittagong. He has also shown his efficiency while performing several administrative duties at CUET. At present, he is chairing the Department of Urban and Regional Planning, CUET. The lecture will start now. There will be a question answering session after the lecture. You can ask questions by commenting on the live program on our page. Now I am requesting our honorable speaker to start today's lecture. Dear sir, you can start now.
Okay, thank
Okay,
you.
thank you.
And
And
Assalamu
assalamu
alaikum,
alaikum.
everyone. Today's lecture is basically on challenges in water resources management, and we will see how the water resources management in globally as well as in Bangladesh, how it is changing, what is the trend of the management process. Okay, first we can see this is from the Holy Quran. As Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said in chapter number 21, verse number 30, أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم وجعلنا من الماء كل شيء حي, means we created from water every living things. So every living thing, that means included the human being, is created from water. So water is everywhere, and we are also depending every phases of life, everyday life, every sector life uh, upon water. So today's discussion, this is something a very brief outline of the presentation. Water is a multidisciplinary issue and some global initiative to address the water issue, water resource management, present and past, and water education and research trend. Okay, so we will first see a perspective test. We can say something. Okay, what is this? If I ask anyone, what is this? Okay, he might be saying this is something. This is the opposite of 3 or something like this, and this is so this is a 3 English number 3, and this is something opposite of 3. Say this is something omega, an alphabet. This is something maybe English aim, something like this. Okay, the same thing. If it is come from different perspective, the thinking is different. Okay, so we just keep it in our mind. We will be discussing this perspective issue after some slide. Now I am coming to some development issue. This is something the eradicate extreme poverty, one of the main development target of the global leaders. The all country leaders, they have the prime uh, target, or the development goal is to eradicate extreme poverty. People in the developing region living in extreme poverty is about 1.5 billion. It's a huge number of people still suffering from hunger. And to eradicate this extreme poverty, we need more food. Of course, there is no doubt. And the food, if we want to grow more food, we need more irrigated agriculture. And finally, we need the water. Uh, Another development target is the reducing child mortality and achieve the primary education. This is a very basic development target all over the world, particularly in the developing countries. But the misery behind this is every 20 seconds, a child dies from a water related disease. So if I want to ensure the child primary education and reduce the child mortality, we must have to ensure this or to have to reduce the child death rate related to water related disease. In many poor communities, fetching water from the distant source result much less attendance in the school. So again, if you want to ensure the school attendance, you must have to ensure water supply at every house. Another big target now in the world, the development target, is combating HIV and AIDS and the other diseases. Now we are combating a pandemic situation. Everyone is much more aware of this, but HIV and AIDS and the other disease like the malaria, once upon a time, so maybe 100 years back, the cholera, malaria, all these are the development issues, in fact. And all these development issues uh, cannot be solved without ensuring water, in fact. And particularly, this is a very big discussion in fact in the global politics, that if I want to ensure water, you must have to have the economic sustainability or the economic ability of the community. Without that economic ability of the community may not sustain water stress, or may not sustain the water supply for the community. Particularly, this is a big problem in the Africa, and they have uh, physical water stress as well as they have the economic water stress, and that means they have the water in in the country, but they do not have enough economic support to supply that water to the community. So this is a big political discussion, as well as the development target, as well as the research focus, in fact. And currently 1.6 billion people are facing economic water shortage, and the majority of that people is living in Africa. Energy supply is another big target. If we see in our country as well, in Bangladesh, government is always trying to supply electricity everywhere in the corner of the country, and it needs a huge, tremendous amount of electricity if we want to electrify all over the whole entire globe. And water supply is very important to produce the electricity. Particularly in many countries, hydropower is the main source of energy, and hydropower, that means the power is directly dependent on water. Not only hydropower, but also other water electricity generation sector that also depends on water supply. Environmental sustainability is another big target or development goals that is also has been discussed widely all over the globe. And water is key to the survival and that of other flora and fauna on the planet. So to lessen pollution, maintain the ecosystem integrity, we need better management of water resources. So what we saw in the last few slides, that we saw that the eradicate extreme poverty, or the attendance of the children in the school, or combating the disease, electricity supply, or the environmental sustainability, whatever we say, we need the water supply, or we need to ensure the water security. In fact, not the actually the supply. If I say this water supply, that people might be thinking, okay, there should be a tap in the house. It's not like that. This is something, the water security, the question of water security. So you see, the water has the different dimension, and this global partnership, the another big issue, particularly in the transboundary water. Water is such an issue that many countries are just fighting against each other because of the rivers, because of the water. So because water does not know any political boundary, and it has its own boundary. that we know there is the river basin is something a technical word. Many people may not understand what is river basin. This is the hydrological boundary of the river, and this hydrological boundary does not follow the political boundary, and that's why a river crosses many countries, and the countries are in the tension with each other. So the global partnership is very important for this water management and water related issues, to solve the water related issues. And that is why I started with this perspective. Water can be seen in different perspective. The people who is just in the household, he or she may be thinking about the water supply in his house, but a political leader, he might be thinking water in different angle, as a development issues or development tool for the entire country. So water is in fact an integrated part of the development of the entire society and the country. And often we say that H2O, that is something the symbol of water, and that H indicates the hill, and O indicates the ocean, and it is hill to ocean. From hill to ocean, everything is related with water. Okay, so water is a multidisciplinary issue. If I come to the management perspective or management issue, how water is managed in the country, just take an example from Bangladesh. We have 39 ministry, and one ministry is dedicated for the water resources. This is something the Ministry of Water Resources. But if I ask anyone, okay, beside the Ministry of Water Resource, is there any other ministry who is dealing with water? And then the question, if the answer may come, yes, there is. And if I want to calculate or count down, okay, which ministry is related to water, then there will be a big question. Now you see the Ministry of Agriculture, okay, it is related to water resources. Chittagong hill tracts also is related to water resources. Ministry of Tourism, tourism and water is directly interrelated. Where there is a water resource, the river, the lake, there is a potentiality of the development of tourism sector. Okay, the cultural affairs, the disaster management, the education, environment, almost every ministry is related to some extent the water resources. Even the foreign ministry is dealing a lot of water resources issue nowadays. Not only nowadays, from the beginning of Bangladesh history, with India and Bangladesh issue and the water sharing issue. So if I say, okay, all these ministries, the underlying ministries are related with water resources. Maybe the question may arise, okay, which ministry is does not related with water resources? Okay, that might be a big question. Okay, so please think about that. That will be a big food for thought. So water, how about the world leaders are thinking? Okay, the Kofi Annan, um, um, uh, General Secretary of UN, and 𝒮𝓾𝓃𝓯, also General Secretary of UN, few years back. What they said, you see the fierce competition for water may well become a source of conflict and war in the future. This is from Kofi Annan. And 𝒮𝓃𝓯 said once upon a time that wars of the 21st century will be fought over water. So water is a very important issue and is a part of competition and part of tension among the nation. So water and war are two topics that are becoming increasingly tied together. Okay, that is something the perspective and the involvement of water resources in the different water sector in a country or the worldwide. Now we can briefly discuss something on the global initiative to address the water issue. In the last few slides, what we saw that okay, water is an issue that is related with different angles of development targets and different sectors, different ministries, different countries all over the entire world. So, if it is something like this, so people should realize also that, okay, this is a very important issue, and then the uh, issues should be addressed by the by the leaders in the globally, and we can see okay what the initiatives that global leaders do. There are different conferences and summits related to water resources. Just few of them I listed here. 1972, like a Stockholm UN Conference on Environment. 1977 is Mar del Plata UN Conference. 1990 is New Delhi Global Consultation of Safe Water and Sanitation. 1992 is the breakthrough, in fact. This is the Dublin Conference and the Rio Conference together. And Rio Conference is the first Earth Summit, is known as the first Earth Summit, from where many decisions came, particularly the definition of sustainable development came from Rio. And Agenda 21 was also came from this Rio Conference. If someone interested, please search in Google and you will get a lot of information on the first Earth Summit held in 1992 in Rio, in Brazil. In 1994 in Norway, this Nordic Ministerial Conference on Drinking Water. In 1995, a fourth UN World Conference on Women. In this Women Conference, also many water issues were also discussed because women and water is again interrelated. 1996, Rome World Food Summit. 1997 is the Marrakech First World Water Forum in Morocco. It is another breakthrough, in fact, 1997. And this is the first World Water Forum, and World Water Forum is a regular event nowadays. Every second year it happens. So 1997, and then 2000, then 2003, 2006, 2009. You can see after 2 years, after 2 years, there is World Water Forum. 2000 UN Millennium Summit, Assembly and Declaration of MDG. This is another big conference or big summit, and the global leaders agreed upon the Millennium Development Goals. And also in 2000, The Hague, Second World Water Forum in the Netherlands. In 2001, the Bonn Conference in Germany. 2002 is another breakthrough, the second Art Summit after 10 years, in fact. In 1992, we discussed the first Art Summit, and after 10 years in Johannesburg, in South Africa, the second Art Summit. Also in 2000, there is UN Declaration. 2003, the Kyoto Third World Water Forum. 2006, Mexico Fourth World Water Forum. 2009, Istanbul Fifth World Water Forum. 2012 is the Rio Plus 20, the third Earth Summit, in fact, again in Rio, and the Marseille Sixth World Water Forum in France. So World Water Forum and the Earth Summit is almost a regular event. I just put a slide here on the World Water Forum. This is the first World Water Forum in 1997, and you see the participants are only 500. And here is the theme. We can see the vision for water, life, and the environment. In 2000 is the second World Water Forum in the Netherlands. The participant is 5,700 from vision to action. 2003 Kyoto, the participant is tremendously high, 24,000. a forum with a difference. 2006 Mexico is 20,000, little bit less than Kyoto. Local action for global challenge. 2009 Istanbul, 25,000 breathing devices for water, and 2012 Marseille in 35,000 participants and solution for water. Okay, that's the theme. So you see the participants are increasing at tremendous pace in the World Water Forum, and this is a very regular event. And I should update is 2015, 2018, and 2000 this year 2021 there will be a World Water Forum. Okay. Uh, and participants are increasing. The themes are very interesting for action research, in fact. So now we will see, we saw the global initiatives because the global leaders are very careful, and they took many steps in managing the water resources. So we will see the change, the trend of the management from the present, from the past. Uh, this is something historical water resource management. In 9th century, is quite long back. In 9th century, Queen 𝒟𝒂𝓄, who ruled Assyria, presently northern Iraq, and she said, once upon a time, that I constrained the mighty river to flow according to my will and lead its water to fertilize lands that had before been barren and without inhabitants. So from the 9th century, people are thinking to regulate water and take water from the river to the locality for their own purpose. Also in the subcontinent, in 12th century, King Parakarma from Sri Lanka, he said, let not a single drop of water that falls on the land go into the sea without serving the people. Very valuable talk, in fact. What people are thinking from the past is 12th century, is quite long back, and at that time people are thinking, okay, let not a single drop of water that falls on the earth or falls on the land go into the sea without serving people. So this is something, a historical perspective. So people at that time always thinking something, the hydraulic structure on the rivers, and that hydraulic structure can take the water or abstract the water from the river to the locality or the community to serve any purpose. So the past or traditional focus is something, the sectoral and fragmented approach, both for cost and benefit, more focused on managing infrastructure, and not all uses are considered, like the cultural or environmental use was not considered at that time. People are mostly thinking for the irrigation, protect water bodies from mainly point source pollution, but the non-point source pollution was little bit omitted. Such management practices fail to respond to the multi-sectoral needs, particularly when the resource is under stress due to global change. And now is the point where the water resource all over the entire globe is under stress, we can say. This is a very constrained resource, natural resource, almost everywhere in the world. I just give one example, the dam and hydropower. That was, in fact, a very interesting water development part in 1970s and 80s. Almost every country wanted to build dam and to make hydropower. So how water was managed from the dam and hydropower perspective, you see the more than 800,000 dams exist in the world, and India alone has more than 4,000 large dams. These structures have brought the humanity many benefits, but generate huge cost to the society by changing the original flow pattern. This is the main problem. You see, the original flow pattern of the river has been changed due to the hydropower or the dam. Dam with hydropower contribute to freshwater storage and act as renewable source of energy. And that is why many people advocate for hydropower. This is the green power source. This is a minimal pollution and minimal cost. It reduces the greenhouse gas emission. It's very low carbon footprint for hydropower. Only 10 to 30 gram of carbon dioxide equivalent per kilowatt hour, whereas fossil fuel based generation carbon footprint is 1000 gram of carbon dioxide equivalent per kilowatt hour. So currently offset emission of 2.1 billion tons of carbon dioxide per year. The remaining realistic hydropower potential would offset a further 7 billion tons of carbon dioxide. So it's a tremendous benefit, in fact, particularly in this time of climate change, that hydropower process. But if you look into the environmental issues from this hydropower sector, then due to abstraction, diversion, and storage, it has a serious ecological impact on the aquatic ecosystem. It releases a turbinated water with changed temperature. It affects the natural flow. It loss of forest and wildlife habitat. It prevents the migration and natural reproduction of the fauna in the rivers. It halts the continuity of supply of ecosystem goods and services, and it displacement of people and social problems. In fact, in the Kaptai Dam, thousands of people are displaced in 1965 or 66 and around 60s. So you see, dam and hydropower is a green power source. Often many people advocate for this, but they forget something: the environmental issues and the environmental problems that is coming from the dams. So this is something the past management issue. I already mentioned that building dam was very important in 1970s and 1980s. So water resource management today's focus is something has been shifted from the fragmental approach to an holistic approach. And this approach is something known as the integrated water resource management. So water resources management became IWRM. IWRM is a process which promotes the coordinated development and management of water, land, and related resources in order to maximize the resultant economic and social welfare in an equitable manner without compromising the sustainability of vital ecosystem. And you see, this is something the definition of IWRM given by GWP. And here, water, land, and related resource, everything has been included. Not only water, but also the other natural resources should be considered together for the management. So there is a specific shift from the WRM to IWRM. And that is why we need a shift in the education and research. How water education and research has been changed. If we look into this figure, you see this is something that water education shift. Initially that means 1950s, 1960s, the water education was completely focused on hydraulic structure and hydraulic engineering. Then it has been shifted to water science and engineering, and water science was mostly to the water treatment process. Then water resources engineering, then this word came, water resources engineering. That means the entire resource has been considered. Then water engineering and management, the management term came after. Is something like 1980s, something like this, or 1990s. And nowadays we are mostly focused on IWRM. where everything is included in our education system. This is something the research focus nowadays in the water sector. I can start from here because this is something the hydraulic structure or hydraulic engineering. So this is hydraulics, agriculture water for the irrigation, risk management, particularly for the disaster, sustainable hydropower. That people realize that hydropower or hydraulic structure that was mostly for the hydropower. The hydropower is creating an environmental problem, so people started thinking for sustainable hydropower. Coastal water, another big issue and the interesting research area, how the coastal water can be used as in a, or how can be treated in a more convenient way. Then urban water, the urban supply and urban water collection treatment, that is something also important. Then ICT is nowadays ICT, the information communication technology has been included also in the water sector, and this is a very big area of research, an interesting area of research. And climate change, another particular topic for water research, because the climate change, the first effect of climate change in the hydrology, because the changing of the temperature will change the entire hydrological cycle, and hydrological changing the hydrological cycle will change the water availability and the water demand everywhere. Economics, also very important, the water resources economics, how to value water and how to that value can be regained or from the community. This is the economic aspect of the water resources management is very important, and the legal and the international relationship of the global network, that will be also discussed. The water resources law is another important topic. Many issues are going to the international court in the Hague, in the Netherlands, on the water issues. Some countries are sue against another country. The international relationship is sometimes based on the water resources. So this part is little bit modern, or the state of the art part of the research, and this the lower part is a little bit is old part of the water resource researches. So water research, water resources research, or water research, whatever you say, is becoming more and more multidisciplinary in nature, and mathematics and economics and the computer scientists are increasingly contributing to research into the solution of the water challenges. And here there is a graph, in fact, that is showing the article output in the journal and the annual growth rate. And this is the little bit old data set, is up to 2010, and you see the economics is the highest. The growth rate is 100%, in fact, with the in terms of article output. Then mathematics and water resource, computer science in the water resources, and these are very highly growth rate, but number of article output are very low. That means still the field is growing, and that is why the growth rate is very high. And this article here is the article output is little bit high, the 750 or 1000 environmental science, and the growth rate is little bit low, and that is very common, in fact. This is a research trend that we can say the article output in water resource increased almost 30% between 2000 and 2009. For comparison, over the time frame, the average growth rate for academic research was just 3%, while the keyword nano, indicating another hot topic, the nanoscience, is rose 20%. Its source is Scopus. So you see the article output in the research trend In 2000 to 2009, the growth rate is 30%. So is a very high growth rate of water related research output. I have discussed very briefly the some research focus. In fact, particularly the urban water is still a big area of research nowadays. Uh, Wastewater treatment, water recycle, reuse is very important aspect of urban water. Then remediation of water logging nowadays is very important. So urban hydrology. If I can say that many developed countries are under flooding nowadays. In German, we say in last few days, in Japan also, and in Bangladesh, almost every city got flooded with rain. So urban drainage and urban hydrology is very important area of research. Climate change, very hot topic for the research, and everything is related to water. Water related disaster, climate change adaptation, water demand and supply change due to the climate change. Agriculture water management is also very important area of research for these water issues and due to climate change. ICT, the information communication technology, the use of machine learning or artificial intelligence in the data management, weather, climate forecasting. Because you see, water resources research handle a huge amount of data set. In fact, particularly in terms of climate forecasting or the weather forecasting, there are several parameters. Also, the historical time series data set. So it is a huge data set, and we need forecasting issues like flood forecasting. That is why we can use the information communication technology here. Reservoir operation is another big part of this mathematical and computer programming related research. The reservoir operation, although reservoir is not very common in Bangladesh. Demand management, demand supply, that means the demand forecasting, and supply forecasting and supply or everything. Optimization and simulation model in the many particularly in the hydroeconomic models, this based on the optimization and simulation. And defined hydrological hydraulic model, that is also nowadays we are using several models to see the hydrological and hydraulic behavior of the water bodies, and that is completely based on the programming. This is another big interesting and area of research, that is the water resources economics. If you say this is a very small figure, but it tells many things. This is a diamond, and this is one bottle of water, and this is a very small size of a diamond. And if I ask anyone, okay, which one is more important for life, everyone will say, okay, the water is very important for life, and which is very costly. Of course, everyone will say, okay, diamond is costly. Okay, this is a paradox, in fact. Okay, the diamond is not necessary for life, but it is a very valuable things to us. But water is so valuable for life, but the cost or price is very low. So you see, that is why water resources economics is a different area of research, and a lot of work can be done here. The water pricing issue, the wetland and its economic value is a very important issue. In the for the particularly wetland, we can see the Ramsar Convention in Iran, the valuation of water. Uh, you can see many literature, even the it's very long books also for the valuation of water, the optimization of water related issues and the models. And there is a legal and international relation focus for the water, the water rights, water stewardship, water related conflicts, transboundary water, global network based on water. So these are some points for legal and international relationship. So I want to conclude here. In fact, again, the perspective came. We can think from a different perspective. If someone is really interested for water-related research, they can think on this current discussion. Is 3F Nexus. This 3F is fuel, flow, and energy. In fact, this is 3F Nexus, the water, energy, food, fuel, food, and flow. 3F. This is how this is interrelated one another. EFR, the environmental flow requirement, how much amount of water is really required for the environment, and how much water can be abstracted from the water bodies. Virtual water is a very interesting topic, in fact, and very less amount of research has been done here. Virtual water is a concept of trade or business, international trade, where one commodity is exported from one country to another, will be counted not only with dollar but also with water. Is not actually valued by dollar, but with the valued with water, and how much water is exported from one country to another country. Okay. Water footprint analysis is another very hot topic. In fact, if you see this, only 50 liter of water is required for a person a day, but a person is taking 1 kilogram of rice every day or one day, he is taking in fact 3,500 liter of water, because 1 kilogram of rice production involves 3,500 liter of water. So how water is going from one step to another. So this is a water footprint analysis. And another topic is crop per drop. This is how more crop can be grown with a drop of water, because water is a constant resource, in fact. And the research outlets are many. In fact, as per the available reports, about 120 journals and 115 regular conferences on water resource management, and almost 1 million articles are being published on the water resources management. And if you see is a countrywide distribution of the research, mostly it is from the US, India, Japan, Brazil, Canada, and China are the leading countries of the maximum studies related to water resource management. And if you really want to know the name of the journals, just Google it, because it's a huge number of journals are here. LCBR, Springer, Wiley, Taylor, every publisher has water-related journals. So it's not a big problem to find water-related journals. So thanks for your attention, and thank everyone. If you have any question, please raise.
Thank you so much, sir, for your wonderful and motivating speech. Hope that it will be helpful for all of the participants. Now I will read out questions from the comment box. So there is a question from Masood Rana Shapon. The question is written in Bangla. I will read out in Bangla. আমার মনে হয় আমাদের দেশে গবেষণা চর্চা বা এ বিষয়ে আগ্রহীর সংখ্যা কম, তাই আগে এটা দেশের ভিতরে আরো কিভাবে সম্প্রসারিত হতে পারে এটা নিয়েও কাজ থাকলে তারপর গবেষণা কিভাবে করতে হবে এটাই ঢুকলে আমাদের জন্য ভালো হতো। ডিয়ার স্যার।
Okay, thanks for this question. In fact, একটা জিনিস আমার কাছে খুব বেশি ক্লিয়ার না, সেটা হচ্ছে এটা নিয়ে গবেষণা মানে এটা বলতে ঠিক এক্স্যাক্টলি কোনটা বোঝানো হচ্ছে এটা আমার কাছে ভালোভাবে ক্লিয়ার না। আমার মনে হয় আমাদের দেশে গবেষণা চর্চা বা এই বিষয়ে আগ্রহীর সংখ্যা কম। তাই আগে
Yes,
এটা
sir.
দেশের ভিতরে আরো কিভাবে সম্প্রসারিত হতে পারে এটা নিয়ে কাজ থাকলে, তারপর গবেষণা কিভাবে করতে হবে এটাই ঢুকলে ঠিক ভালো হতো আর কি। যাই হোক, এটা ঠিক, এটা বলতে কোনটা ঠিক আমার কাছে ক্লিয়ার না, উনি আসলে কি বোঝাতে চাচ্ছেন। তারপরেও আমি বলবো যে উনি রাইটলি পয়েন্টেড আউট করেছেন যে আসলে আমাদের দেশে এ ব্যাপারে গবেষণা কম বা আগ্রহী সংখ্যাও কম, এবং এটার ব্যাপারে কেন কম সেটা যদি আমরা বলতে চাই, আমরা হচ্ছে ওয়াটার অ্যাবান্ডেন্ট কান্ট্রি, উই হ্যাভ লট অফ ওয়াটার, যার জন্যই হয়তো আমাদের ইয়েটা কম, মানে আগ্রহটা কম। কিন্তু তার অর্থ এই নয় যে আমরা এটা নিয়ে গবেষণা করছি না, তা নয়, আমরা গবেষণা করছি, অনেকেই গবেষণা করছেন। এবং আমাদের ওয়াটার অ্যাবান্ডেন্ট কান্ট্রি হওয়ার পরেও আমরা কি বলতে পারবো যে কোনো নদীর পানি আমরা সরাসরি ব্যবহার করতে পারবো? তা কিন্তু নয়। প্রতিটা নদীই আজকে আমাদের আহ, পানির ব্যবহার অযোগ্য হয়ে দাঁড়িয়েছে। থ্যাংকস। নেক্সট।
Sir, I think there is a message from Mohammad Sabir Hussain, sir. Thanks for your insightful lecture. Can you suggest some strategies to multidisciplinary research?
Yes, I already suggested, Mr. Sabir. I already suggested in my lecture in the last few or two three slide that, how we can go for a state of the art research, particularly in the sector of water resources. And this is something that involvement of ICT and water resource, particularly in the data sector, forecasting, climate forecasting or flood forecasting, or this type of forecasting issues, and as well as the data management, because in the water related research we handle a huge amount of data. Not only that, we can also get a huge data set from the satellite imagery measurement, or the handling or management, that is also related with the that can be done. And in the last slide, I give some the research perspective that the if someone is really interested to do a water related research, what type of topic he or she can take, like the water footprint issue, or the urban water, urban hydrology, this virtual water. Virtual water is a very new topic. A very small amount of research has been done here. Okay, thanks. I think in the last two or three slides, someone, if it is really interested to do a research, he can get some idea.
Sir, dear sir, there is another question from Alamin Hussain Abir. What are the common softwares used in water resource management researchers?
Uh, uh,
What are the
yes,
common
yes, yes, I,
softwares
yes,
used?
I understand. I understand, and the is very challenging to say. It's very difficult to say. Okay, the common software, because there is no common software for the water resource management research, but it depends on the particular area of research. Like the hydrology is a different models. In fact, the hydrological models. Just you can Google the hydrological model, you will get a number of models. There are some free models, there are some paid models as well. The hydraulic model, hydraulic structure related model, there is also a number of models are available here. Also, the economic models are also available, how the economical optimization or simulation can be done. Climate models are also available, like GCM, the global climate models, that is also giving the global climate output. So this type of things can be done. So there is not exactly any common software for the water resource research, but water resources has a multidisciplinary issue. So if you have a particular area of research, you have to have a particular model. So if you really need to understand, or if you have any particular question, you can just ask me, no problem. You can communicate me. We can suggest, okay, what is your problem and what type of model can help you. Thank you.
Sir, I have also a question. Sorry, sir. There is a message from Alamin Hussain Rohan. Although I am a student of physics department, I enjoyed the lecture a lot. Thank you so much for your valuable lecture.
Okay, many thanks for to Alamin.
Sir, there is a question from me, sir. So there are many journals and conferences related to the water resource management. But as a student who are not in the department of civil engineering, how can we publish article in those journals or articles who are not in the civil department? Or
No,
how can we use our knowledge in case of water resource management system to
yes.
publish articles in the
Okay,
journals or conferences?
very nice question. In fact, thanks for the question. It's not related with civil. In fact,
Yes,
it
sir.
is not related. Okay, you have to be civil engineer to publish a water related article. It's not. If you are a computer science researcher in the field of computer science engineering, you can also again publish this. There are many articles from the computer science engineering department. You can just Google it or you can search it. You can see many computer science engineering department ICT related researchers are nowadays working with the closely with the water resources. Particularly, you see, this is something the climate issues, the forecasting issues. Climate forecasting is a very complicated work. In fact, how to forecast climate, what will happen after 5 years, how will happen after 10 years. Even the weather forecasting is a very complicated job. What will happen after 1 hour? And nowadays, you see the global weather forecasting is almost very correct. Any weather forecasting website, they can say, okay, say the rain will happen say at 9 o'clock, and rain is coming at 9 o'clock, something like this. So this is a multidisciplinary issue, not only the computer science student, but also the urban planners, and the people who are working with GIS, RS, the remote sensing. This is very important field of area for them as well. So what
Yes,
you
sir.
have to do to publish a paper in that type of journal, uh, the journal, every journal has a particular scope. So if you want to publish a paper in a particular journal, you first look into the scope of the journal, and then if your work is related to that, okay, fine, you can approach to that journal. And journals are also, you will see that journals are nowadays is multidisciplinary. The water sector, the journals are multidisciplinary. So they are also publishing different types of water related papers in a single volume, a single issue. That is not a problem. So just follow the standard pattern of the journal article, and you can publish any journal, no problem. Publishing a paper in the journal is not a problem if you have the proper analysis and the proper way of writing, presenting. That is the important issue. Okay.
Thank you, sir. Thanks again for your valuable time. Also, sir, there is a message from Muhammad Farid Hassan. Thank you, sir, for starting this kind of programs. It is encouraging and inspiring us to do researches.
Oh, many thanks to Farid Hassan.
Sir, thanks again for your valuable time. Also,
Okay,
thanks
thank
to the
you.
audience for your participations. So, there is an announcement. Our next Research Idea Series 11 will be held soon. To get updates of our activities, follow our page, join our group, and subscribe to our YouTube channel. We are happy to inform you that we are now a family of nearly 30K members, including groups, pages, channels, and LinkedIn pages in a very short time. Stay with গবেষক হতে চাই be researcher BD and invite your research enthusiast friends to our platform. Thank you for being with us. Wish you all success and good health. Goodbye. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Assalamu alaikum.